Good morning, I'm Mrs. Julia.
And I'm Mrs. Mankesy.
And we're here this morning to do the Literacy Take Up for Booklet 1. This shouldn't take the whole period. Students, please follow along with your booklet. We will go through all the answers with you. So we are ready to begin. Please follow along on the screen. Okay. So the first section of the booklet is multiple choice answers based on the selection, an animator from Scarborough. Number 1, what will the focus of Lizarda's internship be? The correct answer for number 1 is C, video games. Although the selection goes into great detail about Lizarda's future goals and achievements in his college animation course, the question asks specifically about his internship. The internship will focus on animating video games. Number 2, which word is closest in meaning to confidential as used in paragraph 2? A good strategy for this would be to take each of the words that are provided and put them into the actual sentence. And so looking at the sentence, it would make most sense to use the word secret. So the correct answer is F, confidential meaning secret. Number 3, according to Kisnell, what ability is most important for an animator? When looking at this question, the correct answer is B, pleasing an audience. Kisnell explains that the work of an animator involves not only making a picture move, but also making it entertaining. If an animation is entertaining, it will be pleasing to an audience. Question 4. What do Kisnell's quotes indicate about him? The correct answer is H. He recognizes skill and creativity in his students. Kisnell elaborates on what makes Lizarda an excellent student. Lizarda's work stands out because he has the knowledge of the basic principles of animation, and he has the ability to make his animations entertaining. Number 5, the question is, which paragraph presents information in chronological order? Some students had a difficult time answering this because of course you need to know what the word chronological means. Chronological means means to be arranged in the order of time. Looking at the selection, the best answer would be paragraph 4. Lucas talks about his interest in art at various stages of his life, from childhood to young adulthood. He talks about high school and when he was in grade 10 taking an animation course. Okay, moving on to the open response question. Why is Lizarda a good choice for this internship? Use specific details from the selection to explain your answer. So please remember, when you are answering a short answer question, an open response question such as this, to use part of the question in your answer. It is in red. Lizarda is a good choice for the internship at George Lucas's Animation Academy. Now, details from the actual selection itself. His college animation professor refers to him as an excellent student, in quotations, because that has been taken from the actual selection. So an excellent student whose work really stands out. The professor has a good sense of Lizarda's storytelling and notices his knowledge of the basic principles of animation. Furthermore, he explains that Lizarda also has the ability to make his animations entertaining. Notice that all of these details have been taken from the selection itself. You do not need to come up with answers on your own for this. You merely need to find those answers in the selection by going back and rereading. Okay, moving on to the next section, the multiple choice questions.
Okay. So, question 1, choose the sentence that does not belong in this paragraph. The answer to question 1 is C, sentence 4. The main idea of the paragraph is the busy traffic on city streets. The tall buildings do not fit into the description of the busy streets. Question 2. Choose the best place to insert the following sentence. The answer for 2 is F, after sentence 1. Information is presented in chronological order. The paragraph is describing how the toothbrush has evolved over time. The sentence is describing the original toothbrushes. Question 3. Which of the following sentences needs revision? The answer to question 3 is B, sentence 2. The sentence is describing the focus of the club in 1968, the past. Therefore, the simple past tense of the verb focus should be used focused rather than focuses. And question 5, choose the sentence that is written correctly. The correct answer is B, put the wrapper in the recycle bin. You'll notice that A requires a question mark because it is a question, which makes that one incorrect. What time is it in Sao Paulo, Brazil? And there's no question mark, making that sentence wrong. Answer C, says, I'm so tired that I could sleep in class. And you'll notice there that the question mark does not belong. This is a statement, not a question. And then D is, will the hockey game be over in an hour? This one is a question and requires a question mark. So the answer is then B, a statement, put the wrapper in the recycle bin.
Okay, moving on to the next section. So we have a reading section here where you are again required to answer multiple choice questions, so based on comprehension. And then we have 2 open response questions. So the first multiple choice question, number 1, how does Nat show that he prepared for his interview with Alex? The correct answer is C, by having his questions ready. Nat shows he's prepared for his interview with Alex by stating all of his questions at the beginning of the interview. This shows that he has put time and effort into his preparation. 2, the colon in paragraph 3 is used to, so I want to point out as well, if you go back to page 6 and you take a look at your selection there, notice how you have all of your numbers on the right-hand side of all of your paragraphs, okay? So please make sure that you are referring to those numbers as they refer to them in the questions. Okay, so 2, the colon in paragraph 3 is used to G, introduce a list, okay? So that is one of the functions of a colon. If we continue on, number 3, the question in paragraph 7 are a request for, the questions are a request for, the correct answer is D, clarification. Nat is seeking clarification of the term sweat equity. He poses his understanding of the term in the form of a question so that Alex can indicate whether or not his understanding is accurate. So D is the correct answer. Okay, number 4. The correct answer, well, let's read the question. What is the meaning of aspiring as used in paragraph 9? The correct answer is G, hopeful. Nat refers to himself as an aspiring businessman, which means he hopes to someday become a businessman. Question 5. Which of the following best shows that Alex is creative? Correct answer is C. He started a mobile salon. Alex came up with a creative way to bring the services of a salon and barbershop to the seniors' residence without having to transport the seniors away from the residence and without having to occupy any space within the residence with equipment. Okay? Open response questions.
Okay, so moving along to section C. Question asks you, is the interview with Alex beneficial to Nat's career exploration? Use specific details from the selection to support your answer. Again, starting off with putting part of the question in the answer, and we'll notice that we've got this highlighted in purple. The interview with Alex is beneficial to Nat's career exploration for a few reasons. First, Alex explains how his earlier volunteer experiences helped him establish his business. Next, Alex reassures Nat that being your own boss allows you to be creative in how you want to run your own business. Lastly, Alex offers Nat some useful tips on how to pursue his dream of becoming a businessman. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot stress how important it is to take information directly from the reading selection, especially if you find yourself not being able to think of anything else to write. Go back to the selection and take sentences and ideas directly from it. Next question. How does this selection show the benefits of volunteering for community service? Use specific details from the selection to support your answer. Again, Alex proves to readers that volunteering for community service is beneficial. Alex's volunteer work at his grandfather's residence leads him to creating a business that provides seniors with the services from a salon and barbershop without having to leave their residence. Through this volunteer experience, Alex recognizes a challenge that motivates him to find a solution. Again, putting part of the question in your answer.
Okay, section D. Short writing task. Identify an important environmental issue. Use specific details to explain why it is important. So, you may have written about many different things. This is a question that basically focuses on things that you may have learned in other classes. Remember that this test is cross-curricular. Yes, it is a test of reading and writing. However, you do have to think back to things that you may have learned in science or geography. So think back to science or geography classes. And when you think about environmental issues, some things that you may have discussed in those classes might be global warming, climate change, greenhouse effect, deforestation, pollution, ozone layer depletion. Our answer focuses on the use of plastic water bottles as a serious environmental issue. So we are stating what we believe that environmental issue is. Now, explaining why it is important. You must provide details in order to receive full marks. Examples. From creation to disposal, these bottles contribute to air pollution. Many of the chemicals that go into their production create pollution. In addition, water bottles that are not recycled end up in the landfill. Those that are recycled eventually end up in the landfill as well. It is important that we reconsider the use of plastic water bottles in order to preserve the environment. Okay, next selection. Okay, so this one here is an information.
No, is a news report.
Is a news report.
Okay. So this one required you to write your own news report. You are given a headline and you are given a picture. We cannot stress enough how important it is to ensure that the headline, the picture, and your news report that you write all make sense and belong together. If it is a sad story or a guest speaker that's telling a sad story, you would likely not see a picture of students clapping and laughing as you saw in the mock test. So make sure everything fits and relates to each other. Again, very important before you start actually writing the news report to maybe write on the side or on the paper, not your answer, but in the question booklet, some brainstorming tips and ideas to keep you organized. And so that you're not thinking of the ideas as you write, but you've already got them down and now you just need to put everything in proper format and sentence structure. Okay? So the lead should contain the who, what, where, and when. Okay, so again, who, and you would just write quickly brief notes. Who? Students from STM. What? STM students prepare for visit from the mayor on student council election day. Where? STM. When? Election day, May 19, 2019. Okay, then you'll move into the how. Preparing a polling station, candidate campaigns, mayor's visit advertised on social media. In your actual news report, you can provide more detail to these these points. For example, advertised on social media, how often, which platforms exactly, what did they say. But for the brainstorming portion, just get the most basic idea on the paper so that you can start to formulate a news report. Why students to share election day process with mayor, provide students with an authentic election experience, mayor to offer insights and suggestions on how to make election day more authentic. And then you should also make sure to note the people that you will be interviewing so that you remember, oh yes, I need to have 2 quotes in my news report. And in this case, we have interviewed Ms. Cannon and a student candidate. Okay, so headline, Students Participate in Important Election by Jonathan Brown. You start with the place line, in this case it is Hamilton. So, we begin. On May 19, 2019, the students of history and civics classes at St. Thomas More Catholic Secondary School will be running their student council election for the entire school body. The students and staff organizing the election have invited Mayor Fred Eisenberger as a special guest. Then you move to the next paragraph with some more details. Notice the indents. Each paragraph is indented. This indicates that you understand that you've started a new idea and you've started a new paragraph. It is important to go to the next line and indent so that even as it's being marked, they understand that you understand the format and function of a news report. The students and staff are still in their planning phase. Candidates running for the various positions on council are preparing their campaigns and speeches, while the history and civics students are preparing the materials and set up for the polling station. The students are advertising the visit from Mayor Eisenberger using various platforms such as Instagram and Twitter. You'll notice we have an open quotation. Why? Because we are starting a quote from someone. The enthusiasm of all those involved in the planning of this year's election is unlike any other year. The visit from our mayor has definitely added to the excitement, and we look forward to sharing the experience with him. You close the quotation mark to show that you're done quoting, and then you indicate who that quote is from. Said Miss Cannon, school principal. We move on to another paragraph, which again provides some more supporting details, maybe not as important as the initial who, what, where, when, but it gets into more detail about what the event was. Again, note that we've indented this paragraph because we are starting a new idea, starting a new paragraph. The students and staff organizing the election decided to invite Mayor Eisenberger in order to create a more authentic election process for the student body. In addition to voting for their candidates of choice, students will have the opportunity to speak to our mayor and ask him questions about municipal elections in Hamilton. Also, once the results of the election are tallied, Mayor Eisenberger will have the pleasure of announcing the results to the entire student body. Joanna Myers, one of the candidates running for student president, is overwhelmed with the idea of having the mayor potentially declare her to be next year's student president. I can't, again, open the quotation, I can't even imagine what an honor it would be to have the mayor announce my name as the winner over the announcements. Again, and we close the quotation. This then ends your news report, but notice all of those details were made up and created by the person writing it, all from the headline and the picture. Okay, moving along.
Okay, going on to section F. All right, so you had a selection about polar bears and polar bear survival. The first part is multiple choice questions. Number 1, what is the best meaning of endure as used in line 10? So looking at line 10, we see that we're talking about trying for decades to determine whether polar bears can better endure their months of fasting on land by eating berries. The correct answer for that is C, tolerate. This is a synonym for endure, to tolerate, to bear, to put up with. 2, which option best describes how the information in lines 4 to 7 is presented? If you take a look back at lines 4 to 7, for the estimated 2,000 polar bears in the region, this has serious implications. The sea ice melts completely each summer, stranding the marine creatures on land and away from their normal diet of seal meat. Although many polar bears do consume lots of blueberries and black crowberries on land, the bears lose almost a kilogram of weight a day for at least 4 months, and as long as 8 months in the case of pregnant females. So the correct answer is G, cause and effect. Since the sea ice completely melts in the summer, that is the cause for the polar bears to remain stranded on the land and away from their regular diet of seal meat. As a result, the polar bears are losing weight, which is the effect. 3. How did the biologists determine which bears had recently eaten berries? This is an explicit type of question. You can find the answer directly in the information stated. The correct answer is B, they looked for stained teeth. So see line 14, that's where you would find that. Detectable from telltale stains on teeth and backsides. Next, number 4, what is set off by the comma in the final sentence of the selection? So if you look at the final sentence, unlike that of the brown bear, comma, polar bear metabolism cannot extract sufficient energy from berries alone. It is a contrast. So the difference, the contrast between the brown bear and the polar bear. The comma sets off that contrast between their metabolisms and the metabolism of brown bears and the metabolism of polar bears. 5. Which of the following is likely to occur if the average temperature continues to rise in the Arctic? Correct answer is B. Polar bears will consume less seal meat. Based on the details of the selection, one can infer that polar bears will spend more time on land away from their normal diet of seal meat. Number 6, which is compared in this selection? Correct answer is H, past and more current research. Biologists in the past have tried using measurements from muscle and blood without success. More recently, researchers applied masks to 300 tranquilized bears and gathered samples. This shows that they are comparing past research findings to more current, the recent research findings. Okay, and the last part, continuing on here, is the open response question that again relates to that selection regarding the polar bears. State a main idea of this selection and provide one specific detail from the selection that supports it. Well, we are looking at polar bears and climate change. One of the main ideas of this selection is that climate change is affecting the survival of polar bears. Warm temperatures cause the sea ice to completely melt in the summer. As a result, polar bears remain stranded on land and away from their normal diet of seal meat. Although the polar bears can consume blueberries on land, their metabolism cannot extract sufficient energy from the berries alone. Therefore, climate change is having a direct impact on the survival of the polar bear. So you can see that we have taken details right from the selection itself. That supports our main idea that it's the climate change which is affecting the survival of our polar bears. Okay, so that concludes the take-up of Booklet 1. We will come back during period 5 in order to do the take-up for Booklet 2. It should not take the whole period. Thank you for your attention, and thank you, teachers. I know that we've taken up half the period, but thank you very much, and students, of course, we always wish you the best of luck on the literacy test. See you in period 5. We're going to be starting on page 2 with Ms. Mankizi and the 3-paragraph opinion piece.
Alrighty, so you should all be looking at your answer booklet 2. This one, the question asked you to write a series of paragraphs, so the opinion piece. Questions are often will pertain to you as high school students. So in this case, the question was, is it a good thing for high school students to have a part-time job? So the opinion piece requires you to make a decision, take a stance, and answer this yes or no. Not both, not maybe, just yes, students should have a part-time job, or no, students should not have a part-time job. Important things to note before we start this, and I won't read ours entirely to you, but we will give you some pointers as you go along. Make sure that you indent each new paragraph. This shows that you are aware of paragraphing and essay format, so that's very important. Each new paragraph will be indented. And also, before you start writing the opinion piece, it's probably a really good idea that in the rough notes section that you do a bit of a brainstorm, and you think about your potential points and proofs and examples, just to make sure that you have a plan before you start writing. Other important things, or the last important thing to note, is transition words. Make sure you have transition words at the beginning of a paragraph when you move from point to point. For example, some transitions could be firstly, next, also, furthermore, in addition. Again, just review your transition words so that you're ready and prepped for Wednesday's test. You'll notice there the picture indicates that there is an introduction, so an introductory paragraph, a body paragraph, and a concluding paragraph. The example we have will have 2 body paragraphs, so please be aware of that as we look up the answers. Okay. So this would be an introductory paragraph. Make note of the indent. Okay. In blue, you will see what's referred to as background information. It doesn't come straight out and tell us what your opinion is. It talks about maybe just students and the desire to seek part-time employment. It also talks about how some people might argue against it. Okay. And then next in blue, you state your opinion. So you give some background information about a part-time job, and then the next sentence you state your opinion. And they should have, and in this case it's, in my opinion, students should maintain a part-time job for various reasons. Again, you can say in my opinion here because it is an opinion piece, and put part of, again, the question in the answer or in your opinion piece, in your opinion statement. You can also list here, if you would like, your 2 reasons. We like to sometimes have you think of 3 so that in case you run out of, you have a lot of space remaining, you have another idea that you can add in there. So if you do need to fill up space, it's always good to brainstorm maybe 3 or even 4 ideas so you've got a backup to go to. Okay, so that is your introductory paragraph. Next, we move on to body paragraph number 1. Again, we indent to indicate that we have started a new paragraph. Okay, and then the reason for in this body paragraph is that a part-time job allows students to financially support their daily living expenses. Okay, so having a part-time job as a teenager is important or necessary because that allows them to support their own daily living expenses. Then you move into and provide specific proofs or facts or examples. Okay. One of the main ones could be saving up for post-secondary education if that is an option for you, okay? And the point of saving up for that post-secondary is to reduce, in this case, in this paragraph, to reduce some of the debt that is incurred over the years, okay? Also, we move on with a transition word here, and you'll see furthermore is there. This is not a new paragraph. This is just another sort of reason or more backup information to back up the point. Okay, so again, the reason was that part-time jobs allow students to financially support their daily living expenses, and through proofs, facts, and examples being provided, we give another, some more examples that support our reason, which then supports our opinion. Okay, so again, one of the examples that is given here is that students rely on electronic devices such as smartphones, and these are expensive. So if a student has a part-time job, they can afford a luxury like, you know, one of the sought after or most sought after, if you will, smartphones. Okay? You'll notice here now that we've got an indent because we are now at our second subtopic. Okay? And this one is the importance of a part-time job to teach work skills. Okay, so here we have a new subtopic. You'll notice that there is an indentation to indicate that we have started a new paragraph, and now we're going to be focusing on the work skills that a job teaches a teenager. Again, providing proofs, facts, and examples. Okay, this one talks about learning skills that can be transferred from their studies at schools and even studies at school and even to a future job or career. Okay, things like organization and time management, And then you can go into more detail about those specific facts or proofs. Okay, another sort of reason to support your subtopic about work skills is that there are other transferable skills that you learn from a part-time job, like being on time, taking initiative, working with other people. Okay, all of these are important work skills and then will be necessary for your future, whether it be studies or career at work. Okay, and then again, no doubt that these skills were required in almost any future job or career, and therefore, which is another transition where it is evident that this is beneficial for students. Okay. And then lastly, you will have your concluding paragraph. Okay, now we know that arrow is sort of a little bit higher than it should be. But you will begin, you will restate your opinion, you would have that indented to indicate that you are, that is your concluding paragraph. And you would start to conclude. I believe it is a good idea for high school students to work part-time. Reiterate your opinion. It is what you are proving in your essay. And then in that body paragraph, so with that first sentence that restated your opinion, you would just write a few more sentences in your, this is your concluding paragraph again, that will summarize the arguments that support your opinion. So sort of all of the things that you said in the body paragraphs of your essay, you can then, write them here. So there's nothing new that you need to come up with. You just need to summarize those ideas. Okay, and that is your opinion piece.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next section, section H, which is multiple choice questions that pertain to writing. So number 1, which option is the best concluding sentence for this paragraph? Of course, you're going to look at your all of the sentences, but you're going to look at your topic sentence. Many cities struggle with public transportation needs. So we know that we are focusing on issues and needs in public transportation. As a result, the best answer is B, there are no easy solutions to transit problems. Remember that your concluding sentence summarizes the information and draws a conclusion on the information that you have been given. As a result, for this paragraph, B is the best concluding sentence as it discusses the drawbacks to possible solutions to the transit problems. 2, choose the sentence that is written correctly. The correct answer is H. Taking frequent breaks can improve focus and concentration. This sentence is written correctly because it expresses one complete thought or idea, and there is also evidence of subject-verb agreement and proper punctuation. If you notice, the other sentences seem incomplete, as well as G, regular exercise result, we are missing the will result in better mental functioning. So the correct answer for number 2 is H. 3, choose the option that best combines the following sentences. So you are given 3 independent sentences, and you have to be able to combine those in the most concise way. The best answer is A, Carl J. Elliason's snow machine invention, patented in 1927, was made using bicycle and car parts and a pair of skis. So this sentence manages to combine all the facts. The commas are used correctly and effectively to insert the additional information about the snow machine invention. Number 4, choose the sentence that is written correctly. So the correct answer is G, Teresa and Sam witnessed the accident. If we look at the other sentences, there tend to be subject-verb agreement or verb-tense agreement issues. So for instance, F, we observed the stars last night. Well, that would be incorrect because we know that last night would be past tense. Therefore, observe would have to be past tense, and therefore we would know that that is incorrect. H, Amina and Khalil is going. Well, again, we have an issue with agreement. We need subject-verb agreement. That would have been Amina and Khalil are going to see the latest adventure film. So our correct answer is G, Teresa and Sam witnessed the accident. Moving on to the next section. So this one here, you have to read the section a stunning comeback to an elite sport, and you are asked multiple choice questions. So therefore, your reading is being tested in this particular section of the test. So moving to the questions. Where was Cheney living when she was diagnosed with kidney disease? Looking back at our selection, looking at paragraph 3, we are told that she was in Spain to learn the language and continue her high jump training. And while she was there, she became dizzy and hospitalized and found out that her kidneys were no longer working. So the correct answer is A, Spain, and you can find that directly in the reading selection. Number 2, early on, how did Cheney demonstrate her dedication to high jumping? The correct answer is J. She frequently traveled long distances to train at York University, and again, that information is found directly in paragraph 3. We are told that she would travel 820 kilometers to Toronto to train under a coach. Question 3. How is the information in paragraphs 1 to 3 organized? So of course, you would have to read the paragraphs 1 to 3. In reading those paragraphs, you would see that the information starts in 2010 with her return to track and field championships. Then it goes back to 3 years ago, being unable to walk, and going back even further to when she was younger. She was 14 years old and diagnosed. Therefore, the correct answer is A. The information is presented to us from present to past. Number 4, what is the purpose of the dashes in paragraph 1? Well, if you take a look at paragraph 1 and we find where the dash is, it's right at the end of that very first line there. So the official line on Marie Avies Cheney in the women's high jump read NH dash shorthand for no height dash. Therefore, it is setting off an explanation. So the correct answer is F, and it's explaining to us what NH stands for, which is no height. Question 5. Why is paragraph 5 important to the selection? If you look at paragraph 5, this one here deals with the diagnosis, the overcome of 4 relapses and countless other obstacles, including going blind for 2 months. She was told over and over she'd never jump again because her muscles were too damaged. But for Cheney, jumping is like breathing. So in that, it is revealed that Cheney is very determined. She overcomes all of these obstacles so that she can jump again. So the correct answer is A. It reveals Cheney's determination. Question 6. Which word is closest in meaning to deterred as used in paragraph 7? Again, as I said earlier today, refer back to that paragraph, find that word in the sentence, and substitute the words that you have and then read it in context. So, looking at paragraph 7, on the eve of the national championships, the 27-year-old was not about to be deterred by a difficult night of dialysis, was not about to be punished, was not about to be confused, was not about to be exhausted. Those don't really make sense. The best answer is stopped. We know that she was determined, and she was not about to be stopped by a difficult night of dialysis. Therefore, F is the best answer. Number 7, what impact did kidney disease have on Cheney? Correct answer is D. Cheney no longer expected to be flawless in what she attempted. And the reason we know that that is the best answer and the most correct answer is because if you look at paragraph 10, she herself says that she was cured of her perfectionism. So she no longer expects to be flawless. Flawless would mean that there are no defects, okay? So D is the correct answer. 8. Why was Cheney satisfied with her finish at the national championships? The correct answer is J. She had returned to the sport she enjoyed. Now, the other answer is F. She had jumped her personal best. We know that is incorrect because she came in last, so it wasn't her personal best. She had met her coach's expectations. Again, her coach would have expected her to do better. She had defeated her closest competitor. No, we are told that she came in last, but for her, she felt as though it was a comeback, and you would be hard-pressed to find a happier last place finisher anywhere. As a result, the answer is J. She had returned to the sport she enjoyed. And the last question there, 9, what idea connects the introductory paragraph to the conclusion? The best answer is B. Cheney's last place finish is a victory. So the very last sentence, there are comebacks and there are comebacks. But her comeback was more than just an athletic comeback. She came back, she overcame so much with great determination. And as a result, because of this, she felt that that last place finish was a victory because at least she was competing again. Okay, moving on to section J. This is another reading section. This one here deals with a dialogue, a father with his daughter discussing his return to work. So let's take a look at the multiple choice questions. Number 1, what would be the most appropriate title for this selection? Well, we know that Dad is going back to work, a new job. The correct answer here would be A new start. He's starting a new career as a chef. 2, what is indicated by the single quotation marks in paragraph 4 around go, hurry? So if you take a look at paragraph 4, you will see that it says, it's not the cooking that I'm worried about, it's the pace. Go, hurry, people yelling, getting annoyed. So he's talking about other people's words, what other people would be saying in the kitchen as a chef when he's cooking. So the correct answer is H. Jerry is speaking someone else's words. 3, what does Hannah mean when she says, I was a wreck? Paragraph 7. So this is an expression that is often used when people feel really nervous, they feel like things are a mess around them, and that emotionally they might not be able to handle things. So they'd say that I'm a wreck. When Hannah says this, she is referring to a job that she was going to be starting. So the correct answer is B. She feared starting a new lifeguarding job. We know that A is not correct because it said that she was exhausted from lifeguarding, but she hadn't started that job yet. And C, she was injured while she was on the job. Well, no, again, she had not started the job yet. And she needed help from the second career program. No, it's Jerry, the father, who is getting help from the second career program. So that answer doesn't even apply to Hannah. So the best answer is B. Question 4. How does Jerry feel when he exhales loudly in paragraph 10? So refer to paragraph 10. He says, Jerry exhaled loudly. That helps. Any other tips? So we know that he is beginning to relax, and we know that because he's saying to her, that's helping me, okay? And 5, in which paragraph is a general idea supported with specific information? Of course, you're going to have to go and read every single paragraph. The best answer for this question is C, paragraph 11. Hannah suggests being distracted, which is a general idea, and she follows up with a distracting story to help get her dad's mind off of his anxiety. If we look back to paragraph 11, you distracted me with a funny story. Remember your lab partner who used salt instead of sugar? Okay, so that would be the correct answer. Okay, Ms. Manchese is going to do the open response questions.
Okay, so along with the multiple choice questions for the dialogue, the OSSLT will expect you to be able to write some open response questions relating to what you just read. So, question 6 says, does Jerry believe that Hannah's suggestions will help him? Use specific details from the selection to support your answer. Again, like we said this morning, put part of the question in the answer. So, Jerry believes that Hannah's suggestions to help him relax will work because he shows willingness to take Hannah's advice. And then you support it with instances or examples directly from the text. And then you can elaborate on them, but use the text to start your support to what you've said as, your initial answer. First, there's a transition word there for you. Jerry takes Hannah's advice in taking a deep breath, and he admits that it helps him to feel better. Jerry also being another transition word, chuckles at Hannah's funny story, which shows that his mind is not focused on his nervousness. Lastly, again, a transition word, Hannah advises Jerry to think about the feeling of accomplishment once he finishes his first shift. Jerry closes his eyes and imagines this, and they both burst out laughing. Okay, so we've used specific examples from the text to support the idea that yes, we believe that Hannah's suggestions will help Jerry relax. Another open response question. What does this selection show about Jerry and Hannah's relationship? Use specific details to explain your answer. Again, starting off with putting part of the question in the answer. This selection shows readers that Jerry and Hannah have a very helpful and supportive father-daughter relationship. You've answered the question directly. Okay, you have said that they have a helpful and supportive relationship. And then now let's provide some examples. So, Hannah gives Jerry many helpful tips to help ease his anxiety about starting a new career. She reminds her father that much of the advice she offers him is advice that she has received from him in the past. She recalls a time when she was nervous and Jerry and her mother helped her to feel better. Jerry takes her advice and feels more at ease about his upcoming new career. Okay, moving on to the next one. So this was just a short writing task. It was a completely independent question. Again, it requires you to, this isn't to look back on anything, but this one will be more for a question about your daily life and experiences. So this is when you now take examples from your own life and past experiences or perhaps present experiences to answer this question. So identify one action you take in your daily life to be healthy. Use specific details to explain how this action contributes to your health. This is a two-part question. Most of you would think, oh, I can answer this in one sentence. The one action I take in my life to be healthy is that I run. Okay, or in this case, it's one action I take in my daily life that contributes to my health is eating healthy foods. Well, now you need to develop that with some examples and then explain how it contributes to your health. Okay, so our example is then going to go into this idea of what does it mean to eat healthy foods? And it gives specific examples about healthy foods, and then you will see how it connects this idea of how eating healthy foods contributes to your overall health. So again, part of the question in the answer, and then the details will follow. In this example, we have one action I take in my daily life that contributes to my health is eating healthy foods. I make sure to choose foods that will help keep my body healthy, such as vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and lean proteins. These foods give me the essential nutrients I need to provide me with energy, fight off illness, and they also help to keep me at a healthy weight. Okay, so now we've gone on to explain how eating these healthy foods affect our overall health, how they contribute to our health. And then again, more detail. Being at a healthy weight also contributes to my overall health as my heart won't have to work as hard to pump blood through my body. Also, these foods are much healthier than fatty foods and will not clog my arteries like fried foods are known to do. As a result, eating healthy foods contributes to my overall health on a daily basis. And on to Ms. Julia.
Okay, so section L. This is the graphic text. So notice how many different elements there are to this graphic text. You have the bar graph, you have the pie graphs as well. There is a lot of information on this page. Let's take a look at the multiple choice questions. Number 1, what word is closest in meaning to exporter as used in the paragraph below the title? The correct answer for this would be C, distributor. Number 2, why is a bar graph appropriate for the forest management data? Correct answer is J. It shows a comparison of categories. So in this particular bar graph, it's showing us a comparison of forest management in each of the provinces. 3, how is the Canada's forest management graph organized? If you take a look at that graph, you will see that it is organized by geographic location. It is not by degrees of success or production or changes over time. 4. What was true about British Columbia's forest management in 2008 and 2009? The correct answer is G. More area was burned than planted. 5. What is an accurate conclusion that can be drawn from the information in the pie charts? Now, I found this one to be a little bit more difficult because you had to look at all of the pie charts. The correct answer is B. The percentages of revenue and those of wages and salaries from the major sectors of Ontario's forest industry were similar in 2008. A is not correct because we know that the revenue was not greater, the percentage of revenue, but the smallest percentage of wages in 2008. The pulp and paper had the largest percentage of revenue. C is incorrect. The largest percentage of wages came from pulp and paper product manufacturing in 2008, even though that sector generated the smallest amount of revenue in 2008. It is not. It had the largest amount of revenue. And D, the smallest amount of money was invested in forestry and logging in 2009, even though that sector generated the largest amount of revenue in 2008. It did not generate the largest amount in 2008. So this one here, you probably would have had to spend a little bit more time on to get the correct answer. But B is the correct answer. The percentages of revenue and those of wages and salaries from the major sectors of Ontario's forest industry were similar in 2008. And 6, the correct answer. What conclusion can be supported by information in this selection? The correct answer is F. The forest management of each region or province is unique. And that is the last question of the test. Okay, so some final reminders. These books are yours to keep. Please remember that the test is March 27th and it is a graduation requirement. So we do need you to be here. It's a very, very important day for you to be here and to be writing that test. Where will you be writing? The room allocation will be posted on the cafeteria doors by Monday. It is your responsibility to go to the cafeteria doors and check for your name. Also, if you do not see your name on that list, it is your responsibility to find myself in guidance, Miss Julia. You can find Miss Manchese in student success. You can find Miss DiGiovanni in student success as well. Please let one of us know that your name is not on there, because you need to be on there if you are in grade 10. If you are not writing, you should already know you've been spoken to by someone. Please keep these booklets to review from. If you didn't do so well, please practice. You still have some time. Go on to the LMS site and review the tips, as well as work through the practice quizzes that are available for you on that site. You all know that that site is available for you, and you can access that at your own time, your own leisure. These answers will be posted on the LMS as well, so that you can access them, or if you were away for period 1 or 5, whichever one, you can go back and access them. We will be having a final information session on Tuesday during period 5, so that we can go over any last minute tips, reminders, and it will give you an opportunity if you have a question for us as well. You can ask us at that time. And lastly, come see me, Mrs. Julia in guidance, or you can see Miss Manchese or Miss DiGiovanni in the Student Success Office with any questions that you might have. Okay, thank you very much. Take care.